I didn't think it polite to listen.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry for that, for your sake. You see, I don't play accurately. Anyone can play accurately. But I play with a wonderful expression. I'd say science or life.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of the science of life, have you got those cucumber sandwiches cut for Lady Bracknell?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. By the way, Lane, I noticed that from your book that last Thursday night, when Lord Shoreham and Mr. Worthing were dining with me, that 8 bottles of champagne is entered as having been consumed.
Yes, sir. 8 bottles and a pint.
Why is it that at a bachelor's establishment the servants inevitably drink all the champagne? Oh, I merely asked for information.
I attribute it to the superior quality of the wine, sir. I have often observed that in married households, the champagne is rarely of a first-rate brand.
Good heavens, is married life so demoralizing as all that?
I believe it is a very pleasant state, sir. I have not had much experience of it myself up to the present. I have only been married once. That was in consequence of a misunderstanding between myself and a young person.
I don't know that I'm that much interested in your family life, Lane.
No, sir. It is not a very interesting subject. I try not to think of it myself.
Very natural, I'm sure. That will be all, Lane. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Really? Lane's views on marriage seem somewhat lax. If the lower orders don't set us a good example, what on earth is the use of them? They seem as a class to have absolutely no sense of moral responsibility whatsoever.
Mr. Earnest Worthing.
Ernest, my dear boy, what brings you up to town?
Oh, pleasure. Pleasure. What else should bring one anywhere? Eating as usual, I see, Algy.
I believe that it is customary in polite society to take slight refreshments at 5 o'clock. Where have you been since last Thursday?
In the country.
What on earth do you do there?
When one is in town, one amuses oneself. When one is in the country, one amuses other people. It is excessively boring.
Who are these people that you amuse?
Oh, neighbours.
Got nice neighbours in your part of Shropshire?
Perfectly horrid. Never speak to one of them.
How immensely you must amuse them. The Shropshire is your county, isn't it?
Eh? Shropshire? Yes, of course. Hello. Why all these cups? Why cucumber sandwiches? Why such reckless extravagance in one so young? Who is coming to tea?
Oh, merely Aunt Augusta. And Gwendolen.
Oh, how perfectly delightful.
Yes, that may well be. But I don't think that Aunt Augusta's quite going to appreciate your being here.
May I ask why?
Oh, dear fellow, the way that you flirt with Gwendolen is positively disgraceful. It's almost as bad as the way that she flirts with you.
I am in love with Gwendolen. I have come up to town expressly to propose to her.
I thought you said you'd come up for pleasure. Sounds like business to me.
How utterly unromantic you are.
There's nothing romantic about a proposal. Why, one may be accepted. One usually is, I understand. No, the very essence of romance is the uncertainty. And once one has become engaged, well, there's no uncertainty. If I ever become married, I shall certainly try to forget the fact.
I don't doubt that, Algy. The divorce courts were specially invented for people whose memories are so curiously constituted.
Oh, no speculating on that, man. Divorces are made in heaven. Please don't touch the cucumber sandwiches. Therefore, Aunt Augusta.
Well, you have been eating them all the time.
Well, that's different. She's my aunt. Oh, have some bread and butter. The bread and butter is for Gwendolen.
Oh.
Gwendolen is devoted to bread and butter.
And very good bread and butter it is, too.
Well, my dear fellow, you needn't eat it as if you're going to eat all of it. You behave as if you're married to her already. You are not married to her already, and nor do I think you ever will be.
Why on earth do you say that?
Well, in the first place, women never marry the man that they flirt with. They don't think that's right.
That is nonsense.
No, it isn't. It certainly accounts for the extraordinary number of bachelors we have around the place. And in the second place, I don't give my consent.
Your consent?
My dear fellow, Gwendolyn is my first cousin.
Yeah.
And before I can allow you to marry her, you're going to have to clear up this whole matter of Cecily.
Cecily? What on earth do you mean? What do you mean, Algy, by Cecily? I don't know anyone of the name of Cecily.
Would you bring the cigarette case that Mr. Worthing left here last Thursday?
Yes, sir.
Do you mean to say you've had my cigarette case all this time? I wish to goodness you'd let me know. I've been writing frantic letters to Scotland Yard about it. I was very nearly offering a large reward.
Well, I wish that you would. That would be unusually hard up this month.
There's no good offering a large reward now that the thing is found.
No, I must say that really is nasty of you, Jack. Oh, but it doesn't matter, because now that I look at the inscription, I find that it's not yours at all.
Of course it's mine. You've seen me with it 100 times. And you've no right to read what's written inside. It's a very ungentlemanly thing to read a private cigarette case.
Perfectly absurd to have hard and fast rules about what one should and should not read. Why, more than half of modern culture is made up of what one shouldn't read.
I am quite well aware of that fact, and I don't propose to discuss modern culture. It's not the sort of thing one should talk of in private. I simply want my cigarette case back.
Yes, but this isn't your cigarette case. This is cigarette case. It's a gift from someone by the name of Cecily. And you said that you don't know anyone by that name.
Well, if you want to know, Cecily happens to be my aunt.
Your aunt?
Yes, a charming old lady she is too. Lives at Tunbridge Wells. Just give it back to me, Aunt.
Yes, but why does your aunt call herself Cecily? From fondest love, little Cecily.
My dear fellow, what on earth is there in that? Some aunts are tall, some aunts are not tall. That is a matter that surely an aunt may be allowed to decide for herself. You seem to think that every aunt should be exactly like your aunt. That is absurd. For heaven's sake, give me back my cigarette case.
Yes, but why does your aunt call you her uncle? From little Cecily, with her fondest love to dear Uncle Jack. There is no objection, I admit, to an aunt being a small aunt. But why an aunt, no matter what her size, should call her own nephew her uncle? Well, I can't quite work that out. Besides, your name's not Jack anyway, it's Ernest.
It isn't Ernest, it's Jack.
You've always told me that your name is Earnest. I've introduced you to everyone as Earnest. You look as if your name should be Earnest. You are the most earnest-looking fellow that I've ever met in my life. Perfectly absurd you saying your name is Earnest. Why, it's even on your cards. Here's one of them. Mr. Ernest Worthing, B4 the Albany. I'm going to keep this as proof. Should you ever try to deny to me, or to Gwendolyn, or to anyone else that your name is Ernest?
Well, my name is Ernest in the town and Jack in the country. And the cigarette case was given to me in the country.
That does not account for the fact that your small Aunt Cecily, who lives in Tunbridge Wells, calls you her uncle? Come on, dear fellow, you much best have this thing out at once.
My dear Algy, you talk exactly as if you were a dentist. It's very vulgar to talk like a dentist when one isn't a dentist. It produces a false impression.
That is exactly what dentists do. Now come on, dear fellow, tell me all about it. But I may mention that I've always suspected you of being a secret and confirmed Bunburyist, and now I'm more than ever sure of it.
A Bunburyist? What on earth do you mean by a Bunburyist?
Well, I will share with you the meaning of that incomparable expression when you tell me why you are Ernest in town and Jack in the country.
Well, produce my cigarette case first.
Very well, here it is. Now produce your explanation, and pray make it improbable.
My dear Algy, there is nothing improbable about my explanation at all. In fact, it's perfectly ordinary. Old Mr. Thomas Cardew, who adopted me when I was a small boy, made me in his will guardian to his granddaughter, Miss Cecily Cardew. Cecily, who addresses me as her uncle from motives of respect which you could not possibly appreciate, lives at my place in the country under the charge of her most admirable governess, Miss Prism.
Where is this place in the country, by the way?
That is nothing to you, dear boy. You're not going to be invited. I may tell you candidly, the place is not in Shropshire.
Oh, I suspected that. I've bunburyed all over Shropshire on 2 separate occasions. Now go on. Why are you Earnest in town and Jack in the country?
Oh, my dear young friend, I doubt whether you will be able to understand my real motives. You are hardly serious enough. When one is placed in the position of guardian, one has to adopt a very high moral tone on all subjects. It is one's duty to do so. And as a very high moral tone can hardly be said to conduce very much to either one's health or one's happiness, in order that I might get up to town, I have always pretended to have a younger brother of the name of Earnest, who lives in the Albany and gets into the most dreadful scrapes. That, my dear young friend, is the whole truth, pure and simple.
Oh, the truth is rarely pure, it's never simple. Modern life would be very tedious if it were either, and modern literature a complete impossibility.
That wouldn't be at all a bad thing.
Oh, literary criticism is not your forte, my dear fellow. Don't try it. That is much best left to people who haven't been to universities. They do it so well in all the daily papers.
Oh, dear.
Look, what you are is a Bunburyist. I was quite right in saying that you're a Bunburyist. You're one of the most advanced Bunburyists that I know.
What on earth do you mean?
Well, you've invented a rather useful younger brother in order that you might get up to town whenever you choose. Well, I've invented a perfectly invaluable invalid called Bunbury in order that I might be able to get down to the country whenever I choose. Bunbury is perfectly invaluable. He's such a dreadful invalid. If it wasn't for Bunbury's bad health, I wouldn't be able to join you at Willis's for dinner tonight, for I've really been engaged to Aunt Augusta for a week.
I haven't asked you to dine with me anywhere tonight.
Yes, I know. You are absurdly careless about sending out invitations. Nothing annoys people more than not receiving invitations.
You had much better dine with your Aunt Augusta.
Oh, my dear fellow, I have no intention of doing any such thing. In the first place, I dine there on Monday, and once a week is more than enough to dine with one's own relations. In the second place, I'm always treated as a member of the family, and sent down with either no women at all, or 2. And in the third place, I know perfectly well with whom she's going to place me next to tonight. Mary Farquhar.
Oh.
And she always flirts with her husband. Disgusting. No, it's perfectly scandalous, the amount of women in London who flirt with their own husbands. It is simply washing one's clean linen in public. Anyway, now that I know that you're a Bunburyist, I'd actually wanted to talk to you about Bunburying, discuss the rules with you.
I'm not a Bunburyist at all. If Gwendolen accepts me, I'm going to kill my brother. Indeed, I think I'll kill him in any case. Cecily is a little too much interested in him. It is rather a bore. So I'm going to get rid of Earnest, and I strongly advise you to do the same with your your invalid friend who has the absurd name.
No, nothing ever will induce me to part with Bunbury. And if you ever get married, which seems to me extremely problematic, you'll be very happy to know Bunbury. A man who marries without knowing Bunbury has a very tedious time of it.
That is nonsense. If I do marry a charming girl like Gwendolen, and she is the only girl I ever saw in my life that I would marry, I certainly won't want to know Bunbury.
Then your wife will. You don't seem to realize that in married life, 3 is company, 2 is none.
That, my dear young friend, is the theory that the corrupt French drama has been propounding for the last 50 years.
Yes, and the happy English household is proven in half the time.
For heaven's sake, don't try to be cynical. It's perfectly easy to be cynical.
It's not easy to be anything these days, dear fellow. There's such a beastly lot of competition about. Well, that would be Aunt Augusta. Only relatives and creditors ever ring in that Wagnerian manner. Now look, if I can get Aunt Augusta out of the way for 10 minutes, so that you might have an opportunity to propose, can I join you for dinner at Willis's tonight?
Oh, I suppose so, if you want to.
Oh, yes. But you must be serious about it. I hate people that aren't serious about dining. It really is so shallow of them.
Lady Bracknell and Miss Fairfax.
Good afternoon, dear Algernon. I hope you are behaving very well.
Oh, I'm feeling very well, thank you, Aunt Augusta.
That is not quite the same thing. In fact, two things rarely go together.
Dear me, Gwendolen, you are looking smart.
I'm always smart. Am I not, Mr. Worthing?
You are quite perfect, Miss Fairfax.
Oh, I do hope I'm not that. It would leave no room for development. And I intend to develop in many directions.
I'm sorry if we are a little late, Algernon, but I was obliged to call on dear Lady Harbury. I hadn't seen her since her poor husband's death. I never saw a woman so altered. She looks quite 20 years younger. And now I'll have a cup of tea and one of those nice cucumber sandwiches you promised me.
Certainly, Aunt Augusta.
Won't you come and sit here, Gwendolen?
Thanks, Mama. I'm quite comfortable where I am.
Good heavens, Lane! There's no cucumber sandwiches! I ordered them especially!
There were no cucumbers in the market today, sir. I went down myself twice.
No cucumbers?
No, sir. Not even for ready money.
There you are, Lane. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I really am most distressed, Aunt Augusta, that there weren't any cucumber sandwiches, not even for ready money.
Oh, it really makes no matter, Algernon. I had some crumpets with Lady Harbury, who seems to me to be living entirely for pleasure now.
Yes, I hear that her hair has turned quite golden from green.
It certainly has changed its colour. From what cause, I, of course, cannot say. Thank you. I have quite a treat for you tonight, Algernon. I am going to send you down with Mary Farquhar. She is such a nice woman and so attentive to her husband. It is delightful to watch them.
I'm afraid that I'm going to have to forego the pleasure of your company tonight, Aunt Augusta.
I hope not, Algernon. It will put my table completely out. Your uncle would have to dine upstairs. Fortunately, he is accustomed to that.
Yes, well, it's a great bore, and I needn't say a terrible disappointment. But you see, I've just received a telegram from my friend Bunbury. It seems that he's quite unwell again. They seem to think that I should be with him.
It is very strange. This Mr. Bunbury seems to suffer from curiously bad health.
Yes, poor Bunbury. He's a dreadful invalid.
Well, I do think it is about time, Algernon, that Mr. Bunbury decided whether he was going to live or die. This shilly-shallying with the question is absurd. Nor do I in any way approve of the modern sympathy with invalids. I think it is morbid. Illness of any kind is hardly a thing to be encouraged in others. Health is the primary duty of life. I am always telling that to your poor uncle, but he never seems to take much notice as far as any improvement in his ailments goes. I should be obliged if you would ask Mr. Bunbury from me not to have a relapse on Saturday, for I rely on you to arrange my music for me. It is my last reception, and one wants to encourage conversation, particularly at the end of the season when everyone has practically said whatever they had to say, which in most cases was probably not much.
Well, I shall speak with Bunbury, Aunt Augusta, provided he's conscious, of course. And I think I can assure you he will be all right by Saturday. Now, the music presents a bit of a problem. You see, if one plays good music, no one listens. If one plays bad music, well, no one talks. So I'd like to run over the program with you, if you'd care to step into the next room.
Thank you, Algernon. That is very thoughtful of you. I am sure the program will be delightful after a few expurgations. French songs I cannot possibly allow. People seem to think they are improper, and look shocked, which is vulgar. Or laugh, which is worse. But German is a thoroughly respectable language, and indeed I believe is so. Gwendolen, you will accompany me.
Certainly, Mama.
Charming day it has been, Miss Fairfax.
Please don't talk to me about the weather, Mr. Worthing. Whenever people talk to me about the weather, I always feel quite certain that they mean something else. And that makes me so nervous.
I do mean something else.
I thought so. In fact, I'm never wrong.
And I should like to be allowed to take advantage of Lady Bracknell's temporary absence.
I would certainly advise you to do so. Mamma has a way of coming back suddenly into a room that I've often had to speak to her about.
Miss Fairfax, ever since I met you, I have admired you more than any girl I ever met since I met you.
I am well aware of the fact and have often wished that in public at any rate you had been more demonstrative. To me, you have always held an irresistible fascination. Even before I met you, I was far from indifferent to you. We live, as I hope you know, Mr. Worthing, in an age of ideals. The fact is constantly being mentioned in the more expensive monthly magazines and has even reached the provincial pulpits, I'm told. And my ideal has been to love someone of the name of Earnest. There is something in that name that inspires absolute confidence. The moment Algernon first mentioned to me that he had a friend called Earnest, I knew I was destined to love you.
You really love me, Gwendolen?
Passionately.
Oh, darling, you don't know how happy you've made me.
My own Earnest.
But you don't really mean to say you couldn't love me if my name wasn't Earnest?
But your name is Earnest.
Yes, I know it is. But supposing it was something else. Do you mean to say you couldn't love me then?
Oh, that is clearly a metaphysical speculation, and like most metaphysical speculation, has little reference at all to the actual facts of real life as we know them.
Personally, darling, to speak quite candidly, I don't very much care for the name of Earnest. I really don't think the name suits me at all.
It suits you perfectly. It's a divine name. It has music of its own. It produces vibration.
Well, really, Gwendolyn, I must say that I think that there are lots of other much nicer names. I think Jack, for instance, a charming name.
Jack? No, there is very little music in the name Jack. Very at all. Indeed, it does not thrill. It produces absolutely no vibrations. I have known several Jacks, and they all, without pleasure, have been more than usually plain. Besides, Jack is notorious domesticity to the name John, and I pity any woman who is married to a man called John. She would probably never be allowed to know the entrancing pleasure of a single moment's solitude. No, the only really safe name is Earnest.
Gwendolyn, I must get christened at once. I mean, we must get married at once.
Married, Mr. Worthing?
Well, surely, you know that I love you, and you led me to believe, Miss Fairfax, that you are not absolutely indifferent to me.
I adore you, but you haven't proposed to me yet. Nothing has been said at all about marriage. The subject has not even been touched on.
Well, may I propose to you now?
I think it would be an admirable idea. And to spare you any possible disappointment, I think I should only tell you quite frankly that I am fully determined to accept you.
Oh, Gwendolyn!
Yes, Mr. Worthing, what have you to say to me?
You know what I've got to say to you.
Yes, but you don't say it.
Oh! Gwendolyn? Will you marry me?
Oh, of course I will, darling. How long you have been about it. I'm afraid you've had very little experience in how to propose.
My own one. I have never loved anyone in the world but you.
Yes, but men often propose for practice. I know my brother Gerald does. All my girlfriends tell me so. What wonderfully blue eyes you have, Ernest. They're quite blue. I hope you will always look at me just like that, especially when there are other people present.
Mr. Worthing! Rise, sir, from this semi-recumbent posture.
Oh.
It is most indecorous.
Mamma, I must beg you to retire. This is no place for you. Besides, Mr. Worthing is not quite finished yet.
Finished what, may I ask?
I'm engaged to Mr. Worthing, Mamma.
Pardon me, you are not engaged to anyone. When you do become engaged to someone, I or your father, should his health permit him, will inform you of the fact. An engagement should come upon a young girl as a surprise, pleasant or unpleasant as the case may be. It is hardly a matter that she could be allowed to arrange for herself. And now I have a few questions to put to you, Mr. Worthing. And while I am making these enquiries, you, Gwendolen, will wait for me below in the carriage.
Mamma!
In the carriage, Gwendolen. Gwendolen, the carriage!
Oh, yes, Mamma.
You can take a seat, Mr. Worthing.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell. I prefer standing.
I I feel bound to tell you that you are not down on my list of eligible young men. Although I have the same list as the dear Duchess of Bolton has. We work together, in fact. However, I am quite ready to enter your name, should your answers be what a really affectionate mother requires. Do you smoke?
Well, yes, I must admit I smoke.
I am glad to hear it. A man should always have an occupation of some kind. There are far too many idle men in London as it is. How old are you?
29.
A very good age to be married at. I have always been of the opinion that a man who desires to get married should know either everything or nothing. Which do you know?
I know nothing, Lady Bracknell.
I am pleased to hear it. I do not approve of anything that tampers with natural ignorance. Ignorance is like a delicate, exotic fruit. Touch it and the bloom is gone. The whole theory of modern education is radically unsound. Fortunately, in England, at any rate, education produces no effect whatsoever. If it did, it would prove a serious danger to the upper classes and probably lead to acts of violence in Grosvenor Square. What is your income?
Between 7,000 and 8,000 a year.
In land or in investments?
In investments chiefly.
Oh, that is satisfactory. What between the duties expected of one during one's lifetime and the duties exacted from one after one's death, land ceases to be either a profit or a pleasure. It gives one position and prevents one from keeping it up. That's all that can be said about land.
I have a country house with some land, of course, attached to it, about 1,500 acres, I believe. But I don't depend on that for my real income. In fact, as far as I can make out, the poachers are the only people who make anything out of it.
A country house? How many bedrooms? Well, that point can be cleared up afterwards. You have a townhouse, I presume? A girl with a simple, unspoiled nature like Gwendolen could hardly be expected to reside in the country.
Well, I own a house in Belgrave Square, but it is let by the year to Lady Bloxham. Of course, I can get it back whenever I like at 6 months' notice.
Lady Bloxham? I don't know her.
She goes about very little. She's a lady considerably advanced in years.
Ah, nowadays that is no guarantee of respectability of character. What number in Belgrave Square?
149.
The unfashionable side. I thought there was something. However, that could easily be altered.
Do you mean the fashion or the size?
Both, if necessary, I presume. Now, what are your politics?
Well, I'm afraid I have none. I'm a liberal unionist.
Oh, they count as Tories. They dine with us, or come in the evening at any rate. Now, to minor matters.
Yes.
Are your parents living?
I have lost both my parents.
To lose one parent, Mr. Worthing, may be regarded as a misfortune. To lose both looks like carelessness. Who was your father? He was evidently a man of some wealth. Was he born with what the radical papers call the purple of commerce? Or did he rise from the ranks of aristocracy?
I'm afraid I really don't know, Lady Bracknell. The fact of the matter is, I said I had lost my parents. It would be nearer to the truth to say my parents seem to have lost me. I don't actually know who I am by birth. I was found.
Found?
The late Mr. Thomas Cardew, an old gentleman of a very kindly and charitable disposition, found me and gave me the name of Worthing because he happened to have a first-class ticket to Worthing in his pocket at the time. Worthing is a place in Sussex. It is a seaside resort.
Where did this charitable gentleman, who had a ticket to this seaside resort, find you?
In a handbag.
A A handbag?
Yes, Lady Bracknell, I was in a handbag. A somewhat large, dark green leather handbag with handles to it. An ordinary handbag, in fact.
In which locality did this Mr. James or Thomas Cardew come across this ordinary handbag?
In the cloakroom at Victoria Station. It was given to him in mistake for his own.
The cloakroom? At Victoria Station?
Yes, the Brighton line.
The line is immaterial. Mr. Worthing, I am somewhat bewildered by what you have just told me. To be born, or at any rate, bred in a handbag, whether it had handles or not, seems to me to display a contempt for the ordinary decencies of family life that remind one of the worst excesses of the French Revolution. And I presume you know what that unfortunate movement led to. As for the particular locality in which the handbag was found, the cloakroom at a railway station might serve to conceal a social indiscretion, has probably indeed been used for that purpose before now. But it could hardly be regarded as an assured basis for a recognized position in good society.
May I ask you then what you would advise me to do? I need hardly say I would do anything in the world to ensure Gwendolyn's happiness.
I would strongly advise you, Mr. Worthing, to try and acquire some relations as soon as possible. And to make a definite effort to produce at any rate one parent of either sex before the season is quite over.
Well, I don't see how I could possibly manage to do that. I can produce the handbag at any moment. It's in my dressing room at home. I really think that should satisfy you, Lady Bracknell.
Me, sir? What has it to do with me? You can hardly imagine that I and Lord Bracknell would allow our daughter, a girl brought up with the utmost care, to marry into a cloakroom and form an alliance with a parcel. Good afternoon, Mr. Worthing.
Good afternoon. For heaven's sake, Aldy, stop playing that ghastly tune. How idiotic you are.
Didn't it go off all right, old chap? Oh, don't tell me Gwendolyn refused you. Well, she's always refusing people. I consider it most ill-natured of her.
Gwendolyn is as right as a trivet. As far as she is concerned, we're engaged to be married. Her mother is perfectly unbearable. I never met such a gorgon. I don't really know what a gorgon is like, but I'm sure Lady Bracknell is one. In any case, she is a monster without being a myth, which is rather unfair. I beg your pardon, Algy. I suppose I shouldn't talk about your own aunt that way in front of you.
Nonsense. I love hearing my relations abused. It's the only thing that makes me put up with them. Relations are simply a pack of people who haven't got the remotest idea of how to live, nor the smallest inclination about when to die.
That is nonsense.
No, it isn't.
Well, I won't argue about the matter. You always want to argue about things.
Well, my dear fellow, that is exactly what things were originally made for.
Upon my word, if I thought that, I'd shoot myself.
Oh.
I say, you don't suppose there's a chance of Gwendolyn becoming at all like her mother in about 150 years, do you?
Every woman becomes like her mother. That's their tragedy. No man does, that's his.
Is that clever?
Well, it's as simply put as any observation in modern life should be.
I am sick to death of cleverness. Everybody is clever nowadays. You can't go anywhere without meeting clever people. The whole thing has become an absolute public nuisance. I wish to goodness we had a few fools left.
We do.
Do we? Well, I should extremely like to meet them. What do they talk about?
Fools? No, the clever people, of course.
What fools?
Yes. Did you tell Gwendolyn the truth about your being Earnest in town, Jack in the country?
My dear fellow, the truth is hardly the sort of thing one tells to a nice, sweet, refined girl. What strange ideas you have about the way to behave to a woman?
Oh. The only way to behave to a woman is to make love to her if she is pretty, and to someone else if she is plain.
That is nonsense.
What about your brother? What about the profligate Earnest?
By the end of the week I shall have got rid of him. I shall say he died in Paris of apoplexy. A lot of people die of apoplexy quite suddenly, don't they?
Well, yes, but that sort of thing's hereditary. It runs in the family. Though you'd much better say he was carried off by a severe chill.
You're sure a severe chill isn't hereditary or anything of that kind?
Of course it isn't.
Very well then. My poor brother Ernest is carried off suddenly in Paris by a severe chill. That gets rid of him.
What about Miss Cardew? I thought you said that she was rather fond of him. Won't she feel his loss a great deal?
That is all right. Cecily is a silly romantic girl, I'm glad to say. She has a capital appetite, goes long walks, and pays no attention at all to her lessons.
You know, I would quite like to meet this Saturday.
I shall take very good care you never do. She's excessively pretty, and she's only just 18.
Have you told Gwendolyn that you have an excessively pretty ward who's only just turned 18?
One must not simply blurt these things out to people. Cecily and Gwendolyn are perfectly certain to become extremely great friends. Why, I'll bet you anything you like that half an hour after they've met, they'll be calling each other sister.
Women only call each other that after they've called each other a great deal of other things first. Oh, come on, dear fellow. We must go and get dressed. We want to get a good table at Willis's. It's nearly 7.
Oh, it always is nearly 7.
Yes, well, I'm hungry.
I never knew you when you weren't.
What shall we do after dinner? Shall we go to the theatre?
Oh, no, I loathe listening.
Oh. We go to the club, then?
No, I hate talking.
Well, we might trot round to the Empire at about 10.
Oh, no, I can't bear looking at things. It's so silly.
Then what shall we do?
Nothing.
Nothing? Awfully hard work doing nothing. Mind you, I don't mind a bit of hard work as long as there's no definite object involved.
Miss Fairfax.
Gwendolyn! Upon my word!
Algy, kindly turn your back. I have something very particular to say to Mr. Worthing.
I don't think that I can allow this.
Algy, always adopt a strictly immoral attitude towards life. You are not quite old enough to do that.
Gwendolyn, darling.
We may never be married. From the expression on Mamma's face, I fear we never shall. Do your parents now, then, pay any attention to what their children say to them? The old-fashioned respect for the young is fast dying out. Any influence I've had over Mamma, I lost at the age of 3. But although she may prevent us from becoming man and wife, and I may marry someone else and marry often, nothing she can possibly do will ever alter my eternal devotion to you.
My own one.
The story of your romantic origins, as related to me by Mamma with unpleasing comments, has naturally stirred the deeper fibers of my nature. Your Christian name has an irresistible fascination, and the simplicity of your character makes you exquisitely incomprehensible. Your town address at the Albany I have. Now, what is your address in the country?
The Manor House, Woolton, Hertfordshire.
There is a good postal service there, I suppose. It may be necessary to do something desperate. Oh, that of course will require serious communication. Oh, I will communicate daily.
Gwendolyn.
How long do you remain in town?
Oh, till Monday.
Oh, Algy, you may turn around now.
I've turned around already, thank you.
And you may also ring the bell.
May I see you to your carriage, my own darling?
Certainly.
I shall see Miss Fairfax out.
Yes, sir.
Bill. Yeah. Glass of sherry, Lane?
Yes, sir.
I'm going bunburying in the morning, Lane. Shan't be back till Monday.
Yes, sir.
So you can lay out my dress suit, my smoking jacket, or my other bunburying suits.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I hope the weather's fine tomorrow, Lane.
It never is, sir.
Lane, you're the perfect pessimist.
I do my best to give satisfaction, sir.
That'll be all Lane, thank you.
Thank you. There's a sensible, intellectual girl. The only girl I ever cared for in my life. What are you so amused at?
Oh, I'm just a little anxious about Bunbury, that's all.
If you don't take good care, your friend Bunbury is going to get you into a very serious scrape someday.
Oh, I love scrapes. They're the only things that are never serious.
That is nonsense. You never talk anything but nonsense.
Oh, yes, well, no one ever does.
Cecily! Surely such a utilitarian occupation as the watering of flowers is rather Moulton's duty than yours, especially at a moment when intellectual pleasures await you. Your German grammar is on the table. Pray open at page 15. We will repeat yesterday's lesson.
But I don't like German. Well, it isn't at all a becoming language. I know perfectly well I look quite plain after my German lesson.
Child, do you know how anxious your guardian is that you should improve yourself in every way? He laid particular stress on your German as he was leaving for town yesterday. Indeed, he always lays particular stress on your German as he's leaving for town.
Dear Uncle Jack is so very serious. Sometimes he is so serious I think he cannot be quite well.
Your guardian enjoys the best of health, and his gravity of demeanour is to be especially commended in one as comparatively young as he is. I know of no one with a higher sense of duty and responsibility.
I suppose that is why he often looks a little bored when we three are together.
Cecily, I'm surprised at you. Mr. Worthing has many troubles in his life. Idle merriment and triviality would be out of place in his conversation. You must remember his constant anxiety about that unfortunate young man, his brother.
I wish you would allow that unfortunate young man, his brother, to come down here sometimes. We might have a very good influence over him, Miss Prism. Oh, I'm sure you certainly would. Well, you know German and geology, and things of that kind influence a man very much.
I do not think that even I could produce any effect on a character which, by his own brother's admission, is irretrievably weak and vacillating. Indeed, I'm not sure I should desire to reclaim him. I'm not in favour of this modern mania of turning bad people to good at a moment's notice. As a man sows, so shall he reap. You must put away your diary, Cecily. I really don't see why you should keep a diary at all.
I keep a diary in order to enter the wonderful secrets of my life. If I didn't write them down, I should probably forget all about them.
Memory, my dear Cecily, is the diary that we all carry about with us.
Yes, but it usually chronicles the things that have never happened. They couldn't possibly have happened. I believe that memory is responsible for nearly all the 3-volume novels that Moody sends us.
Do not speak slightingly of the 3-volume novel, Cecily. I wrote one myself in earlier days.
Did you really, Miss Prism? Oh, how wonderfully clever you are. I hope it did not end happily. I don't like novels that end happily. They depress me so much.
The good ended happily, the bad unhappily. That is what fiction means.
I suppose so, but it seems very unfair. Was your novel ever published?
Alas, no. The manuscript was abandoned. Oh, I used the word in the sense of lost or mislaid. To your work, child. These speculations are profitless.
But I see dear Dr. Chasuble coming up through the garden.
Dr. Chasuble? Ooh, this is indeed a pleasure.
And how are we this morning? Miss Prism, you are well, I trust?
Miss Prism has just been complaining of a slight headache. I believe it would do us so much good to have a short stroll with you in the park, Dr. Chasuble.
Cecily, I have not mentioned anything about a headache.
No, dear Miss Prism, I know that. But I felt instinctively that you had a headache. Indeed, I was thinking about that and not about my German lesson when the rector came in.
I hope, Cecily, you are not inattentive.
Oh, I'm afraid I am.
That is strange. Were I fortunate enough to be Miss Prism's pupil, I would hang upon her lips. I spoke metaphorically. My metaphor was drawn from bees. Mr. Worthing, I suppose, has not yet returned from town?
We do not expect him back till Monday afternoon.
Yes. He usually likes to spend his Sundays in London. He is not one of those whose sole aim is enjoyment, like that unfortunate young man his brother seems to be. But I must not disturb Egeria and her pupil any longer.
Egeria? My name's Letitia, Doctor.
A classical allusion nearly drawn from the pagan authors. I shall see you both, no doubt, at evensong.
I think, dear Doctor, I will have a stroll with you. Oh, I find I have a headache after all, and the walk might do it good.
Yes. With pleasure, Miss Prism. With pleasure. We may go as far as the schools and back.
That would be delightful.
You'll read your political economy in my absence.
The chapter on the fall of the rupee you may omit.
It is somewhat too sensational.
Even these metallic problems have their melodramatic side. Horrid political economy, horrid geography, horrid German.
Mr. Earnest Worthing has just driven over from the station, miss. He's brought his luggage with him.
Mr. Ernest Worthing, B4 the Albany, W. Uncle Jack's brother. Did you tell him Mr. Worthing was in town?
Yes, miss. He seemed most disappointed. I mentioned that you and Miss Prism were out here in the garden. He seemed most anxious to talk to you privately for a moment.
Pray ask Mr. Ernest Worthing to come out here. I suppose you had better talk to the housekeeper about a room for him.
Yes, miss.
I have never met any really wicked person before. I feel rather frightened. I'm so afraid he looks just like everyone else. He does.
You are my little cousin Cecily, I presume?
You are under some strange mistake. I am not little. In fact, I believe I'm more than usually tall for my age. But I'm your cousin, Cecily. And you, I see from your card, are Uncle Jack's brother, my cousin Ernest, my wicked cousin Ernest.
Oh, you mustn't think that I'm wicked, cousin Cecily. I'm not wicked at all.
If you are not, then you have been deceiving us all in a most inexcusable manner. I hope you have not been leading a double life, pretending to be wicked and being really good all the time. That would be hypocrisy.
Well, I have, of course, been rather reckless.
I'm glad to hear it.
Actually, now that you come to mention it, I have been very bad in my own small way.
I don't think you should be so proud of that, though I'm sure it must have been pleasant.
Well, it's much more pleasant to being here with you, cousin Cecily.
I can't understand how you're here at all. Uncle Jack won't be back till Monday afternoon.
Yes, I know. That's a great disappointment, but I'm obliged to go up to town by the first train on Monday morning. You see, I have a business appointment that I'm rather anxious to miss.
Couldn't you miss it anywhere but in London?
Well, no, you see, the appointment's in London.
Oh, of course, I know how important it is not to keep a business engagement if one is to retain any sense of the beauty of life. But still, I think you had better wait until Uncle Jack arrives. I know he wants to talk to you about your immigrating.
About my what?
You're immigrating. He's gone up to buy your outfits.
Well, I certainly wouldn't let Jack buy any of my outfits. He has absolutely no taste in neckties.
Oh, I don't think you shall require neckties. Uncle Jack is sending you to Australia.
Australia? I'd sooner die.
Well, at dinner on Wednesday night, he said you would have to choose between this world, the next world, and Australia.
Well, the accounts that I've received of the next world and Australia are not particularly encouraging. Though no, this world is good enough for me, cousin Cecily.
Yes, but are you good enough for it?
Well, that I'm afraid I'm not. I thought you might like to make it your little mission to reform me this afternoon, if you have enough time.
Well, I'm afraid I have no time this afternoon.
Would you mind if I tried to reform myself this afternoon?
It is rather quixotic of you, but I think you should try.
Oh, I feel better already.
You're looking a little worse.
That is because I'm hungry.
Oh, how thoughtless of me. I should have remembered that when one is going to lead an entirely new life, one requires regular and wholesome meals. Won't you come in?
Yes, might I have a buttonhole first? I never have an appetite unless I have a buttonhole.
A Marechal Niel?
I would sooner a pink rose.
Why?
Because you, Cousin Cecily, are like a pink rose.
Oh, I don't think it can be quite right for you to talk to me like that. Miss Prism never says such things to me.
Then Miss Prism is a short-sighted old lady. You are the most beautiful girl I have ever seen.
Miss Prism says that all good looks are a snare.
Well, they are a snare that every sensible man might like to find himself caught in.
Oh, I don't think I'd care to catch a sensible man. I should know what to talk to him about. You are too much alone, Dr. Chasuble. You should get married. A misanthrope I can understand. A womanthrope never.
Believe me, I do not deserve so neologistic a phrase. The precept as well as the practice of the primitive church was distinctly against matrimony.
Well, that is obviously why the primitive church has not lasted to the present day.
You do not seem to realize, dear doctor, that by persistently remaining single, a man converts himself to a permanent public temptation. Men should be more careful. This very celibacy leads weaker vessels astray.
But is a man not equally attractive when married?
No married man is ever attractive, except to his wife.
And often I've been told, not even to her.
That depends on the intellectual sympathies of the woman. Maturity can always be depended on. Ripeness can be trusted. Young women are green. I spoke horticulturally. My metaphor was drawn from fruits. But where is Cecily?
Perhaps she follows to the schools.
Mr. Worthing?
Mr. Worthing?
This is indeed a surprise. We did not look for you till Monday afternoon.
I am returned sooner than I expected. Dr. Chasuble, I hope you are well.
My dear Mr. Worthing, I do hope this garb of woe does not betoken some terrible calamity.
My brother.
More shameful deaths and extravagances.
Still leading his life of pleasure.
Dead.
Your brother Ernest dead?
Quite dead.
What a lesson for him. I trust you will profit by it.
Mr. Worthing, I offer my sincere condolence. You have at least the consolation of knowing that you are always the most generous and forgiving of brothers.
Poor Ernest. He had many faults, but it is a sad, sad blow.
Very sad indeed. Were you with him at the end?
No. He died abroad. In Paris, in fact. I had a telegram last night from the manager of the Hotel Royal.
And was the cause of death mentioned?
A severe chill, it seems.
As a man sows, so shall he reap.
Charity, my dear Miss Prism, charity. None of us are perfect. I myself am peculiarly susceptible to drafts. And the interment will take place here.
No. He seems to have expressed a desire to be buried in Paris.
In Paris? I fear that hardly points to a very serious state of mind at the last. You would no doubt wish me to make some slight allusion to this tragic domestic affliction next Sunday.
Dr. Chasuble.
My sermon on the meaning of manna in the wilderness can be adapted to almost any occasion, joyful or, as in this case, distressing. I have preached it to harvest celebrations, christenings, confirmations, days of humiliation, and festival days. Indeed, the last time I delivered it was in the cathedral as a charity sermon on behalf of the Society for Prevention of Discontent among the upper orders. The bishop who was present was quite taken by some of the analogies I drew.
Ah, that reminds me. You mentioned christenings, I think, Dr. Chasuble. I suppose you know how to christen all right? I mean, of course you do. You are continually christening, aren't you?
It is, I regret to say, one of the rector's most constant duties in his parish. I've often spoken to the poorer classes on the subject, but they don't seem to know what thrift is.
Yeah. You have some particular infant in mind, Mr. Worthinger. Unmarried, I believe, was he not?
Oh, yes, yes.
People who live entirely for pleasure usually are.
No, but it is not for any child, dear doctor. I'm very fond of children. No, the fact is, I would like to be christened myself. This afternoon, if you have nothing better to do.
Surely you have been christened already.
Well, I don't remember anything about it.
Do you have any grave doubts on the subject?
Well, I certainly intend to have. Although, I don't know whether the thing would bother you in any way, or if you think I'm a little too old now.
Oh, not at all, not at all. The sprinkling and indeed the immersion of adults is a perfectly canonical practice.
Immersion?
You need have no apprehensions. Sprinkling is all that is necessary or indeed advisable. Our weather is so changeable. Now, do you have some particular hour when you would like the ceremony to take place?
Well, I might trot round about 5 if that would suit you.
Perfectly, perfectly. I have 2 similar ceremonies to perform at that time. A case of twins that occurred in one of the outlying cottages on your own estate. Poor Jenkins the carter, a most hard-working man.
I don't see much fun in being christened with other babies. It would be childish. Would 5:30 do?
Oh, admirably, admirably. And now, my dear Mr. Worthing, I will intrude no more into this house of sorrow. I would merely beg you not to be too bowed down by grief, but remember that some of life's most bitter trials are often blessings in disguise.
This seems to me a blessing of an extremely obvious kind.
Uncle Jack!
Oh, I am pleased to see you back. But what horrid clothes you have got on. Do go and change them. Cecily!
My child, my child!
Uncle Jack, what is the matter? Oh, do look happy. You look as if you had a toothache. And I've got such a surprise for you. Who do you think is in the dining room? Your brother.
Who?
Your brother, Earnest. He arrived about half an hour ago.
What nonsense. I haven't got a brother.
Oh, don't say that. However badly he may have behaved to you in the past, he is still your brother. You couldn't be so heartless as to disown him. I'll tell him to come out and you will shake hands with him, won't you, Uncle Jack?
These are indeed joyful tidings.
After all resigned to his lot, his sudden return seems to me peculiarly disturbing.
My brother is in the dining room. I don't know what it all means. I think it's perfectly absurd. Good heavens!
Brother John, I have come down from town to say that I am sorry for all the trouble that I have caused in the past, and that I shall try to lead a better life in the future.
Uncle Jack, you're not going to refuse your own brother's hand.
Nothing will induce me to take his hand. I think his coming down here disgraceful. He knows perfectly well why.
Uncle Jack, do be nice. There is some good in everyone. Ernest has just been telling me about his poor invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury. So often, and there must be much good in one who is kind to an invalid and leaves the pleasures of London to sit by a bed of pain.
Oh, he's been talking about Bunbury, has he?
Yes, he's told me all about poor Mr. Bunbury and his terrible state of health.
Bunbury! Well, I won't have him talk to you about Bunbury or about anything else. It is enough to drive one perfectly frantic.
I admit that in the past the faults were all on my side, but I must say that I find Brother John's coldness towards me particularly painful. I expected a far more enthusiastic welcome. Especially seeing how this is the first time that I've ever been here.
Uncle Jack. If you do not shake hands with Ernest, I will never forgive you.
Never forgive me?
Never, never, never.
All right. And this is the last time I shall ever do it.
It is pleasant indeed to see so perfect a reconciliation. I think we might leave the brothers together.
Cecily, you come with us. Certainly, Miss Prism. My little task of reconciliation is over.
It is a beautiful action you have done today, my child.
We must not be premature in our judgments.
Oh, I feel very happy.
Elsie, you young scoundrel! You have got to get out of this place as soon as possible. I don't allow any bunburying here.
I have put Mr. Ernest's things in the room next to yours, sir. I suppose that is all right.
What?
Mr. Ernest's luggage, sir. I have unpacked it and put it in the room next to your own.
His luggage?
Yes, sir. 2 portmanteaus, 3 large dressing boxes, 2 hat boxes, and a large luncheon basket.
Afraid I can't stay for any more than a week this time.
Merriman, order the dog cart at once. Mr. Earnest has been suddenly called back to town.
Yes, sir.
What a frightful liar you are, Jack. I haven't been called anywhere.
Oh, yes, you have.
Well, I didn't hear anyone call my name.
Your duty as a gentleman calls you back.
Oh, my dear fellow, I have never let my duty as a gentleman interfere in my pleasures ever before.
I can quite understand that.
Well, Cecily is a darling.
You are not to talk of Miss Cardew like that. I don't like it.
Yes, well, I don't like the way that you're dressed. You look perfectly ridiculous. Why on earth don't you go up and change? It's perfectly childish being in deep mourning for a man who's actually staying at your house for a whole week as a guest.
You are certainly not staying with me for a whole week as a guest or anything else. You have got to leave by the 4:05 train.
Well, I'm certainly not going to leave you while you're in mourning. That would be most unfriendly of me. Why, if I was in mourning, you would stay with me? Well, at least I should hope so. Consider it most unkind if you didn't.
But will you go if I change my clothes?
Oh, all right then. As long as you don't take too long. Never seen anyone take so long to get changed in my life, and with so little effect.
Well, at any rate, that's better than being always overdressed as you are.
If I am occasionally overdressed, I always make up for it by being immensely overeducated.
Your vanity is ridiculous. Your conduct an outrage. And your presence in my garden utterly absurd. However, you have got to catch the 4:05, and I hope you will have a pleasant journey back to town. This bunburying, as you call it, has not been a great success for you.
Oh, this bunburying's been a great success. I'm in love with Cecily, that's all there is to it. Now I must find her to make arrangements for another bunbury. There she is.
Oh, I merely came back to collect the flowers. I thought you were with Uncle Jack.
He's gone to get the dog cart for me.
Oh, is he going to take you for a nice drive?
He's going to send me away.
Then have we got to part?
I'm afraid so. It really is so painful parting.
It is always painful to part from people whom one has only known for a very brief space of time. The absence of old friends one can endure with equanimity. But even a momentary separation from anyone to whom one has just been introduced is almost unbearable.
Thank you.
The dog cart is at the door, sir.
It can wait, Merriman, for 5 minutes.
Oh. Yes, miss.
Cecily, I hope that I won't offend you if I state quite openly and frankly that you seem to me to be the very visible personification of absolute perfection.
I think your frankness does you great credit, Ernest. If you'll allow me, I will copy your remarks into my diary.
Do you keep a diary? Oh, I'd give anything to read it, may I?
No. You see, it is quite simply a very young girl's record of her own thoughts and impressions, and consequently meant for publication. When it appears in volume form, I do hope you will order a copy.
Oh, yes.
Oh, but pray, Ernest, don't stop. I delight in taking down from dictation. I've reached absolute perfection. You can go on. I am quite ready for more. Okay, Ernest, don't cough. When one is dictating, one should speak fluently and not cough. Besides, I don't know how to spell a cough.
Cecily, ever since I have dared to look upon your wonderful and incomparable beauty, I have dared to love you wildly, passionately, devotedly, and hopelessly.
Oh, Ernest, I don't think that you should tell me that you love me wildly, passionately, devotedly, hopelessly. Hopelessly doesn't seem to make much sense, does it?
Cecily.
The dog cart is still at the door, son.
They're telling to come around at the same hour next week.
Yes, sir.
Uncle Jack would be very much annoyed if he knew you were staying on till next week at the same hour.
Oh, I don't care about Jack, or about anyone else in this whole world except for you. I love you, Cecily. You will marry me, won't you?
Oh, you silly boy, of course. Why, we have been engaged for the last 3 months.
3 months?
Yes, it will be exactly 3 months on Thursday.
But how did we become engaged?
Well, ever since dear Uncle Jack first confessed to us that he had a younger brother who was very wicked and bad, you, of course, have formed the chief topic of conversation between myself and Miss Prism. And of course, a man who is much talked about is always very attractive. One feels there must be something in him, after all. I dare say it was foolish of me, but I fell in love with you, Ernest.
And when was the engagement actually settled?
On the 14th of February last. Worn out by your entire ignorance of my existence, I determined to end the matter one way or the other. And after a long struggle with myself, I accepted you under this dear old tree here. The next day I bought this ring in your name. And this is the bangle with the true lover's knot I promised you always to wear.
Did I buy you these? They're very nice, aren't they?
Yes, you have wonderfully good taste, Ernest. It's the excuse I've always given for you leading such a bad life. And this is the box in which I keep all your dear letters.
Cousin Cecily, I've never written you any letters.
You need hardly remind me of that, Ernest. I remember only too well I was forced to write your letters for you. I wrote always 3 times a week and sometimes oftener.
May I read one?
Oh, no. They would make you far too conceited. The 3 you wrote me after I had broken off our engagement are so beautiful and so badly spelled that even now I can hardly read them without crying a little.
Was our engagement ever broken off?
Oh, yes. On the 22nd of last March. You can see the entry if you like. Today I broke off my engagement with Earnest. I feel it is better to do so. The weather still continues charming.
Why did you break off our engagement? What had I done? I've done nothing at all. I must say that I find it particularly painful that you broke off our engagement. And especially when the weather was so charming.
Well, it would hardly have been a really serious engagement if it hadn't been broken off at least once. But I forgave you before the week was out.
Oh, what a perfect angel you are.
You dear romantic boy. I hope your hair curls naturally, does it?
Oh, yes, with a little help from others.
I'm so glad.
And you'll never break off our engagement again.
Well, I don't think I can break it off now that I've actually met you. Besides, of course, there is the question of your name.
Oh, yes, of course.
You must not laugh at me, darling, but it had always been a girlish dream of mine to love someone whose name was Ernest. There is something in that name which seems to inspire absolute confidence. I pity any poor married woman whose husband is not called Earnest.
That's it. Do you mean to you say that you couldn't love me if I had some other name?
But what other name?
Oh, any name that you like. Algernon, for instance?
I don't like the name of Algernon.
But my own dear, darling sweetheart, I don't see why you should object to the name of Algernon. It's a very aristocratic name. Why, more than half the fellows who end up at bankruptcy court are called Algernon. But seriously, Cecily, couldn't you love me if my name was Elgie?
I might respect you, Ernest. I might even admire your character. But I fear I should not be able to give you my undivided attention.
Cecily, your rector here is thoroughly experienced in all rites and ceremonies of the church, I presume?
Oh yes, Dr. Chaswell is a most learned man. He has never written a single book, so you can imagine how much he knows.
Well, I must see him at once on a very important christening. I mean, on a very important business.
Oh.
I shan't be any more than half an hour.
Considering that we have been engaged since February the 14th, and that I only met you today for the first time, I think it is rather hard that you should leave me for so long a period as half an hour. Couldn't you make it 20 minutes?
I'll be back in no time.
What an impetuous boy he is. I like his hair so much. I must enter his proposal into my diary.
Miss Fairfax has just called to see Mr. Worthing on very important business, Miss Fairfax states.
Was it Mr. Worthing in his library?
No, he went over in the direction of the rectory some time ago.
Oh, pray ask the lady to come out here. Mr. Worthing is sure to be back soon, and you can bring tea.
Yes, miss.
Miss Fairfax. Oh, I suppose one of the many good elderly women associated with Uncle Jack and his philanthropic work in London. I don't quite like women who are interested in philanthropic work. I think it is so forward of them.
Miss Fairfax.
Pray, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Cecily Cardew.
Cecily Cardew, what a very sweet name. Something tells me we're going to be great friends. I like you already more than I can say. My first impressions of people are never wrong.
How nice of you to like me so much after we've known each other such a comparatively short time. Pray sit down.
I may call you Cecily, may I not?
With pleasure.
And you will always call me Gwendolyn, won't you?
If you wish.
Then that is all quite settled, is it not?
I hope so.
Perhaps this would be a favourable opportunity for my mentioning who I am. My father is Lord Bracknell. You've never heard of Papa, I suppose?
Oh, I don't think so.
Outside the family circle, Papa, I'm glad to say, is entirely unknown. I think that is quite as it should be. The home seems to me to be the proper sphere for a man, and certainly once a man begins to neglect his domestic duties, he becomes painfully effeminate, does he not? I don't like it. It makes men so very attractive. Cecily, Mamma, whose views on education are remarkably strict, has brought me up to be extremely short-sighted. It's part of her system. So do you mind my looking at you through my glasses?
Oh, not at all. I'm very fond of being looked at.
You are here on a short visit, I suppose?
Oh, no, I live here.
Really? Your mother, no doubt, or some female relative of advanced years resides here also?
Oh, no, I have no mother, nor in fact any relations.
Indeed.
My dear guardian, with the assistance of Miss Prism, has the arduous task of looking after me.
Your guardian?
Yes, I'm Mr. Worthing's ward.
It's strange, she never mentioned to me that he had a ward. How secretive of him. He grows more interesting hourly. I'm not sure, however, that the news inspires me with feelings of unmixed delight. I am very fond of you, Cecily. I have liked you more since I first met you. But I feel bound to state that now that I know that you're Mr. Worthing's ward, I cannot help expressing a wish that you were, well, a little older than you seem to be. and not quite so very luring in appearance. In fact, if I may speak candidly...
Pray do. I believe that whenever one has anything unpleasant to say, one should always be quite candid.
Well, to speak with perfect candor, Cecily, I wish that you are fully 42 and more than usually plain for your age. Ernest has a strong, upright nature. He is the very soul of truth and honor. This loyalty would be as impossible to him as deception. But even men of the noblest possible moral character are extremely susceptible to the influence of the physical charms of others. Modern, no less than ancient history supplies us with many most painful episodes of what I speak of. Indeed, if it were not so, history would be entirely unreadable.
I beg your pardon, Gwendolyn. Did you say Ernest?
Yes.
Oh, but it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is my guardian. It is his brother, his elder brother.
Oh, it is strange. Ernest never mentioned to me that he had a brother.
Oh, I'm sorry to say they've not been on good terms for a long time.
Ah, that accounts for it. And now that I think of it, I've never heard any man mention his brother. The subject seems distasteful to most men. Cecily, you have lifted a load from my mind. I was growing almost anxious. It would have been terrible if anything had come across a friendship like ours, would it not? Of course, you are quite sure that it's not Mr. Earnest Worthing who is your guardian.
Oh, quite sure. In fact, I am going to be his.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, dearest Gwendolyn, there is no reason why I should make a secret of it to you. Our little county newspaper is bound to chronicle the fact next week. Mr. Ernest Worthing and I are engaged to be married.
My darling Cecily, I feel there must be some slight error. Mr. Ernest Worthing is engaged to me. The announcement will appear in the Morning Post on Saturday at the latest.
I'm afraid you must be under some misconception. Ernest proposed to me exactly 10 minutes ago.
It is certainly very curious, for he asked me to be his wife yesterday afternoon at 5:30. If you would care to verify the incident, pray do so. I never travel without my diary. One should always have something sensational to read in the train. I'm so sorry, Miss Cecily, if it is of any disappointment to you, but I'm afraid I have the prior claim.
It would distress me more than I can tell you, dear Gwendolyn, if it were to cause you any mental or physical anguish. But I feel bound to point out that since Ernest proposed to you, he has clearly changed his mind.
If the poor fellow has been entrapped into any foolish promise, I will consider it my duty to rescue him at once and with a firm hand.
Whatever unfortunate entanglement my dear boy may have got into, I will never reproach him with it after we are married.
Do you allude to me, Miss Gardew, as an entanglement? You are presumptuous. On an occasion of this kind, it becomes more than a duty to speak one's mind. It becomes a pleasure.
Do you suggest, Miss Fairfax, that I entrapped Ernest into an engagement? How dare you? This is no time for wearing a shallow mask of manners. When I see a spade, I call it a spade.
I am glad to say I have never seen a spade. It is obvious our social spheres have been widely different.
Shall I lay tea here as usual, miss?
Yes, as usual.
Are there many interesting walks in the vicinity, Miss Gardew?
Oh yes, a great many. From the top of one of the hills, quite close, one can see 5 counties.
5 counties. I don't think I should like that. I hate crowds.
I suppose that is why you live in town.
Right, well, get down.
So glad you like it, Miss Fairfax.
I had no idea there are any flowers in the country.
Oh, flowers are as common here, Miss Fairfax, as people are in London.
Personally, I can't understand how anyone manages to exist in the country. If anyone is anyone about. The country bores me to death.
This is what the newspapers are calling agricultural depression, is it not? I believe the aristocracy are suffering very much from it just at present. It's almost an epidemic amongst them, I am told. Would you care for tea, Miss Fairfax?
Thanks. Yes, we'll go, but I require tea.
Sugar?
No, thank you. Sugar is not fashionable anymore.
Cake or bread and butter?
Bread and butter, please. Cake is rarely seen in the best houses nowadays.
Hand that to Miss Fairfax.
For bread and butter, you have given me cake. I am known for the gentleness of my disposition and the extraordinary sweetness of my nature. But I warn you, Miss Cardew, you may go too far.
To save my poor, innocent, trusting boy from the machinations of any other girl, there are no lengths to which I would not go.
From the moment I saw you, I distrusted you. I felt that you were false and deceitful. I am never deceived in such matters. My first impressions of people are invariably right.
It seems to me, Miss Fairfax, that I am trespassing on your valuable time. No doubt you have many other calls of a similar character to make in the neighborhood.
Ernest! My own Ernest!
Dear Gwendolen!
A moment, please. May I ask if you're engaged to be married to this young lady?
To dear little Cecily? Of course not. What could have put such an idea in your pretty little head?
Thank you. Your man.
I knew there must be some misunderstanding. The gentleman whose arm is at present round your waist is my guardian, Mr. John Worthing.
I beg your pardon?
This is Uncle Jack.
Jack? Oh!
This is Ernest.
Oh, my own angel.
A moment, Ernest. Pray tell me, are you engaged to be married to this young lady?
What young lady? Good heavens, Gwendolen!
Yes, to good heavens, Gwendolen. I mean, to Gwendolen.
Why, no, of course not. What could have put such a silly idea into your pretty little head?
Thank you. You may.
Thank you.
I thought there must be some slight error. The gentleman who is now embracing you is my cousin, Mr. Algernon Moncrief.
Algernon Moncrief? Are you called Algernon?
I cannot deny.
Oh!
Is your name really John?
I could deny it if I liked. I could deny anything if I liked. But my name is most certainly John. It has been John for years.
A gross deception has been practiced on both of us.
My poor wounded Cecily.
My sweet wrong Gwendolen.
You will call me sister, will you not?
There's just one question I'd like to be allowed to ask my guardian.
An excellent idea. Mr. Worthing, there is just one question I'd like to be permitted to put to you. Where is your brother Ernest? We are both engaged to be married to your brother Ernest. So it is a matter of some importance that we know where your brother Earnest is at present.
Gwendolen, Cecily, it is very painful for me to be forced to speak the truth. It is the first time in my life I have ever been reduced to such a painful position, and I'm really quite inexperienced in doing anything of the kind. However, I will tell you both quite frankly that I have no brother Ernest. I have no brother at all. I never had a brother in my life, and I certainly have not the smallest intention of ever having one in the future.
No brother at all?
None.
Had you never a brother of any kind?
Never. Not even of any kind.
I'm afraid it's quite clear. Neither of us is engaged to be married to anyone.
It is not a very pleasant position for a young girl to suddenly find herself in, is it?
Let us go into the house. They would hardly venture to come after us there.
No, men are so cowardly, aren't they?
This ghastly state of things is what you call bunburying, I suppose.
Yes, perfectly wonderful Bunbury. As a matter of fact, it's the best Bunbury I've ever had.
Well, you've no right whatsoever to Bunbury here.
One has a right to Bunbury wherever one chooses. Every serious Bunburyist knows that.
Serious Bunburyist, good heavens.
One has to be serious about something in this life if one is to get any amusement. I happen to be serious about Bunburying. What on earth you're serious about, I have no idea. Probably about everything. You really have such a trivial nature.
Well, the only small satisfaction I have in the whole of this wretched business is that your friend Bunbury is quite exploded. You won't be able to trot off down to the country quite so often as you used to, and a damn good thing too, Algy.
Yes, well, your brother's not looking too well either, is he, dear Jack? You won't be able to disappear up to town quite so often as your wicked custom, and not a bad thing either.
As for your conduct towards Miss Cardew, I think you're taking in a dear, sweet, innocent girl like that is thoroughly inexcusable, to say nothing of the fact that she is my ward.
Well, there can be no possible defense for your deceiving such a brilliant, clever, and thoroughly experienced young lady as Miss Fairfax, to say nothing of the fact that she is my cousin.
I wanted to be engaged to Gwendolen, that is all. I love her.
Well, I simply wanted to be engaged to Cecily, that's all. I adore her.
Well, there's no chance of your marrying Miss Cardew now.
But I don't think there's much chance of you and Miss Fairfax being united either, Jack.
Well, that's no business of yours.
Well, of course I won't talk about it. Oh, very vulgar to talk about one's business. Nobody ever does, except the stockbrokers, and then merely at parties.
How you can sit there, calmly eating muffins whilst we're in this horrible trouble, I simply can't make out. You seem to me to be perfectly heartless.
Well, I can hardly eat muffins in an agitated manner. I would probably get the butter all over my cups. One should always eat muffins in a calm manner.
I say it's perfectly heartless of you eating muffins at all under the circumstances.
When I'm in trouble, I eat. As a matter of fact, as anyone who knows me intimately will tell you, when I'm in great trouble, I refuse everything, except for food and drink. At the moment, I happen to be particularly unhappy, so I'm eating muffins. Besides, I happen to be particularly fond of muffins.
Well, that's no reason why I should eat them all in that greedy way.
Oh, Jack, I do wish you'd eat this cake. I don't like cake.
Good heavens, I suppose a man may eat his own muffins in his own garden.
You just said it was perfectly heartless to eat the muffins.
I said it was perfectly heartless of you under the circumstances. That is an entirely different thing.
Maybe, but the muffins are still the same.
Algy, I wish to goodness you'd go.
You can't expect me to go. I haven't had my dinner yet. I never go anywhere without having my dinner. Nobody ever does. Oh, well, I suppose except for vegetarians and people like that. Besides, I have an appointment with Dr. Chasuble at 6:15 to be christened under the name of Earnest.
My dear fellow, the sooner you give up that ridiculous nonsense, the better. Besides, I made arrangements this morning with Dr. Chasuble to be christened at 5:30, and I naturally will take the name of Earnest. Gwendolen would wish it. We can't both be christened Earnest, it's absurd. Besides, I have a perfect right to be christened if I like. There's no evidence at all to say that I ever was christened by anybody. I should think it very likely I never was. And so does Dr. Chasuble. It's entirely different in your case. You have been christened already.
Oh, yes, but that was years ago.
Yes, but you have been christened. That's the important thing.
Yes, exactly. So I know that my constitution can stand it. You know, I must say that if you're not sure of your ever having been christened, it really is most dangerous you undertaking such a venture now. It might make you quite unwell. Surely you can't have forgotten that somebody very close to you was very nearly carried off with a severe chill.
Yes, but you said a severe chill isn't hereditary.
Oh, I know it used to be. But medicine really is making such wonderful improvements these days.
That is nonsense. You never talk anything but nonsense.
Oh, Jack, you're at the muffins again. I wish that you wouldn't. I've already told you I don't like tea cakes. No. Besides, there's only 2 left.
Algy, I have already asked you to go. I don't want you here. Well, why don't you go?
Because I haven't finished my tea yet. And besides, there is still 1 muffin left.
The fact that they did not follow us into the house as anyone else would have done seems to me to show they have some sense of shame left.
They have been eating muffins. That looks like repentance.
They don't seem to notice us at all. Couldn't you cough?
But I haven't got a cough.
They're looking at us. What effrontery.
They're approaching. Oh, that's very forward of them. Oh,
let us preserve a dignified silence.
Certainly. It's the only thing to do now. Ah!
A rather unpleasant effect.
A most distasteful one.
But we will not be the first to speak.
Certainly not.
Mr. Worthing, I have something very particular to ask you. Much depends upon your reply.
Oh, Gwendolen, your common sense is invaluable. Mr. Moncrief, kindly answer me the following question. Why did you pretend to be my guardian's brother?
Oh, in order that I might have the opportunity to meet you, of course.
That certainly seems a satisfactory explanation, does it not?
Yes, dear, if you can believe him.
No, I don't. That does not affect the wonderful beauty of his answer.
True, in matters of grave importance, style, not sincerity is a vital thing. Mr. Worthing, what explanation can you offer to me for pretending to have a brother? Was it in order that you might have the opportunity of coming up to town as often as possible to see me?
Can you doubt it, Miss Fairfax?
I have the gravest doubts on the subject, but I intend to crush them. This is no time for German skepticism. Their explanations appear quite satisfactory, especially Mr. Worthing's. That seems to have the stamp of truth upon it.
I am more than content with what Mr. Moncrief has said. His voice alone inspires one with absolute credulity.
Then you think we should forgive them?
Yes. Oh, I mean, no.
Oh, true, I had forgotten. There are principles at stake that one cannot surrender. Which of us will tell them? The task is not a pleasant one.
Could we not both speak at the same time?
An excellent idea. I know you always speak at the same time as other people. Will you take your time from me?
Certainly. Your Christian names are still an insuperable barrier. That is all.
Our Christian names? Is that all? But we are going to be christened this afternoon.
For me, you are prepared to do this terrible thing?
I am.
To please me, you are ready to face this fearful ordeal.
I am.
Oh, how absurd to speak of equality of the sexes. where questions of self-sacrifice are concerned, men are infinitely beyond us.
We are.
They have moments of physical courage, of which we women know absolutely nothing.
Darling!
Darling!
Lady Bracknell!
Oh, good heavens!
Gwendolyn! What does this mean?
Merely that I am engaged to be married to Mr. Worthing, Mamma.
Come here, sit down. Sit down immediately. Hesitation of any kind is a sign of mental decay in the young, of physical weakness in the old. Apprised, sir, my daughter's sudden flight by her trusty maid, whose confidence I purchased by means of a small coin, I followed her at once by a luggage train. Her unhappy father is, I am glad to say, under the impression that she is attending a more than usually lengthy lecture by the University Extension Scheme on the influence of a permanent income on thought. I do not propose to undeceive him. Indeed, I have never undeceived him on any question. I would consider it wrong. But of course, sir, you must clearly understand that all communication between yourself and my daughter must cease immediately from this moment on this point. As indeed on all points, I am firm.
I am engaged to be married to Gwendolyn, Lady Bracknell.
You are nothing of the kind, sir. And now, as regards my nephew Algernon. Algernon,
Yes, Aunt Augusta.
may I ask if it is in this house that your invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury, resides?
Bunbury? Oh no, Bunbury doesn't live here. No, Bunbury's elsewhere. As a matter of fact, Oh, Bunbury's dead.
Dead? When did Mr. Bunbury die? His death must have been extremely sudden.
Oh, I killed Bunbury this afternoon. I mean, he died this afternoon.
What did he die of?
Bunbury? No, he was quite exploded.
Exploded? Was he the victim of a revolutionary outrage? I was not aware that Mr. Bunbury was interested in social legislation. If so, he is well punished for his morbidity.
Aunt Augusta, when I say Bunbury was exploded, I mean Bunbury was found out. That is to say that the doctors found out that Bunbury couldn't live. So he died.
He must have had great confidence in the opinion of his physicians. I am glad, however, that he made up his mind at the last to some definite course of action and acted under proper medical advice. And now that we have finally got rid of this Mr. Bunbury, may I ask, Mr. Worthing, who is that young person whose hand my nephew Algernon is holding in what seems to me to be a peculiarly unnecessary manner?
That lady is Miss Cecily Cardew, my ward.
We're engaged to be married, Aunt Augusta.
I beg your pardon.
We are engaged to be married, Lady Bracknell.
I don't know if there is anything peculiarly exciting in the air in this particular part of Hertfordshire, but the number of engagements that go on seem to me to be considerably higher than statistics have laid down for our guidance. I think some preliminary inquiry on my behalf would not be out of place. Mr. Worthing, is Miss Cardew in any way connected with any of the larger railway stations in London? I merely desire information. Until yesterday, I had no idea that there were any families or persons whose origin was a terminus.
Miss Cardew is the granddaughter of the late Mr. Thomas Cardew of 149 Belgrave Square, SW, Jarvis Park, Dorking, Surrey, and the Sporran Fifeshire N.B.
That is not unsatisfactory. 3 addresses always inspire confidence, even in tradesmen. But what proof have I of their authenticity?
I have carefully preserved the court guides of the period. They are open to your inspection, Lady Bracknell.
I have known strange errors in that publication.
Miss Cardew's family solicitors are Messrs. Markby, and Markby.
Markby, and Markby. A firm of the very highest position in their profession. Indeed, I am told that one of the Mr. Markbys is occasionally to be seen at dinner parties. So far, I am satisfied.
How extremely kind of you, Lady Bracknell. I also have in my possession, you will be very pleased to hear, certificates of Miss Cardew's birth, baptism, whooping cough, registration, vaccination, confirmation, and the measles, both the German and the English varieties.
Ah, a life crowded with incident I see. Though perhaps somewhat too exciting for a young girl, I am not in favor of premature experiences. Gwendolyn, come along, dear. The time approaches for our departure. We have not a moment to lose. As a matter of form, Mr. Worthing, I had better ask you if Miss Cardew has any little fortune.
Oh, about £130,000 in the funds, that is all. Well, good afternoon, Lady Bracknell. So pleased to have seen you.
A moment, Mr. Worthing. £130,000, and in the funds. Miss Cardew seems to be a very attractive young lady now that I look at her. Few girls of today have any really solid qualities, any qualities that last and improve with time. We live, I regret today, in an age of surfaces. Come over here, dear. Pretty child. Your dress is sadly simple, and your hair seems almost like nature might have left it. But we can soon alter that. A thoroughly experienced French maid can produce a really marvellous result in a very brief space of time. I remember recommending one to young Lady Lancing, and after 3 months her own husband did not know her.
And after 6 months nobody knew her.
Turn around, sweet child. No, the side view is what I want. Yes, just as I expected. There are distinct social possibilities in your profile. The 2 weak points in our age are its want of principle and its want of profile. The chin a little higher, dear. Style depends largely on the way the chin is worn. They're worn very high just at present. Algernon!
Yes, Aunt Augusta.
There are distinct social possibilities in Miss Cardew's profile.
Cecily is the dearest, sweetest girl in the whole world, and I don't give a tuppence for her social possibilities.
Algernon, never speak disrespectfully of society. Only people who can't get into it do that. Of course, dear, you do realize that Algernon has only his debts to depend upon. But I do not approve of mercenary marriages. When I married Lord Bracknell, I had no fortune of any kind. However, I never allowed that for one moment to stand in my way. Well, I suppose I had better give my consent.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Cecily, you may kiss me, dear.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell.
And you may also address me as Aunt Augusta for the future.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
I think the marriage had better take place quite soon.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
To speak frankly, I am not in favor of long engagements. They give people the opportunity to find out each other's character before marriage. Which I think is never advisable.
Pray excuse me for interrupting you, Lady Bracknell. But this engagement is quite out of the question. I am Miss Cardew's guardian, and she cannot marry without my consent until she comes of age. That consent I absolutely decline to give.
On what grounds, may I ask? My nephew, Algernon, is an extremely, I may almost say, an ostentatiously eligible young man. He has nothing, but he looks everything. What more can one desire?
It pains me very much to be forced to speak frankly to you, Lady Bracknell, about your nephew. But the fact is, I do not approve of his moral character. I suspect him of being untruthful.
Untruthful? My nephew Algernon? Impossible! He is an Oxonian!
I fear there can be no possible doubt about the matter. This afternoon, during my temporary absence in London on an important question of romance, he obtained admission to my house by means of the false pretense of being my brother. Under an assumed name, he drank, I have just been informed by my butler, an entire pint bottle of my Perrier Jus Brut 89, a wine I was specially reserving for myself. Continuing his disgraceful deception, he succeeded during the course of the afternoon in alienating the affections of my only ward. He subsequently stayed to tea and devoured every single muffin. And what makes his conduct all the more heartless is that he was quite well aware from the start that I have no brother, I never had a brother, and that I do not intend to ever have a brother, not even of any kind. I distinctly told him so yesterday afternoon.
Mr. Worthing, after careful consideration, I have decided entirely to overlook my nephew's conduct to you.
Oh, how extremely generous of you, Lady Bracknell. My own decision, however, is unalterable. I decline to give my consent.
Come here, sweet child. How old are you, dear?
Well, I'm really only 18, but I always admit to 20 at evening parties.
You are perfectly right in making some slight alteration. Indeed, no woman should ever be quite accurate about her age. It looks so calculating. 18 and admitting to 20 at evening parties. Well, it will not be long now before you are of age and free from the restraints of tutelage. So I don't think your guardian's consent is, after all, a matter of any importance.
Pray, excuse me, Lady Bracknell, for interrupting you once again, but I feel it only fair to point out that under the terms of her grandfather's will, Miss Cardew does not come legally of age until she is 35.
That does not seem to be a grave objection. 35 is a very attractive age. London society is full of women of the very highest birth who have of their own free choice remained 35 for years. Lady Dumbleton is an instance in point. To my own knowledge, she has been 35 ever since she arrived at the age of 40, which is many years ago now. So I don't see that our dear Cecily should not be even more attractive at the age you mention than she is at present. There will be a large accumulation of property.
Algy, could you wait for me till I was 35?
Yes, of course I could. You know I could.
Oh, yes, I felt it instinctively. But I couldn't wait all that time. I hate waiting even 5 minutes for anybody. It always makes me rather cross. I'm not punctual myself, but I do like punctuality in others. And waiting, even to be married, is quite out of the question.
What is to be done, Cecily?
I don't know, Mr. Moncrief.
My dear Mr. Worthing, as Miss Cardew states positively that she cannot possibly wait until she is 35, a remark that I am bound to say sounds like a somewhat impatient nature, I must beg of you to reconsider your decision.
But, my dear Lady Bracknell, the entire matter is in your own hands. The moment you consent to my marriage with Gwendolen, I will gladly allow your nephew to form an alliance with my ward.
You must be quite aware, sir, that what you propose is out of the question.
Then a passionate celibacy is all any of us can look forward to.
That is not the destiny that I propose for Gwendolen. Algernon, of course, may choose for himself. Come, dear. We have already missed 5, if not 6 trains. To miss any more might expose us to comment on the platform.
Everything is quite ready for the christenings.
The christening, sir? Is that not somewhat premature?
Both of these gentlemen have expressed the desire for immediate baptism.
At their age? The idea is grotesque and irreligious. Algernon, I forbid you to be baptized. I will not hear of such excesses. Lord Bracknell would be highly displeased if he knew that that was the way in which you wasted your time and money.
Am I to understand there are to be no christenings at all this afternoon?
I don't think that as things are now, it would be of much practical value to either of us, Dr. Chasuble.
It grieves me to hear such sentiments from you, Mr. Worthing. They savour of the heretical views of the Anabaptists, views which I have completely refuted in 4 of my unpublished sermons. However, since your mood seems to be one peculiarly secular, I shall return at once to the church. Indeed, I have just been informed by the pew opener that Miss Prism has been waiting for me there for the last hour and a half in the vestry.
Miss Prism? One moment, sir, did I hear you mention a Miss Prism?
Yes, Lady Bracknell, I am on my way to join her.
Pray allow me to detain you for one moment. This matter may prove to be one of vital importance to Lord Bracknell and myself. Is this Miss Prism, a female of repellent aspect, remotely connected with education?
She is the most cultivated of ladies, and the very picture of respectability.
It is obviously the same person. May I ask, sir, what position she holds in your household?
I am a celibate, madam.
Miss Prism, Lady Bracknell, has been for the last 5 years Miss Cardew's esteemed governess and valued companion.
In spite of what I hear of her, I must see her at once. Let her be sent for.
She approaches. She is nigh.
I was told you expected me in the vestry, dear Vicar. I've been waiting there for you for an hour and 3/4.
Just about.
Prism! Come here, Prism! Prism! Where is that baby? 28 years ago, Prism, you left Lord Bracknell's house, number 104, Upper Grosvenor Street, in charge of a perambulator that contained a baby of the male sex. You never returned. A few weeks later, through the elaborate investigations of the Metropolitan Police, the perambulator was discovered at midnight, standing by itself in a remote corner of Bayswater. It contained a manuscript of a 3-volume novel of more than usually revolting sentimentality. But the baby was not there. Prism, where is that baby?
Lady Bracknell, I think with shame I do not know. I only wish I did. Plain facts of the case are these. On the morning of the day you mentioned, a day which is forever branded on my memory, I prepared as usual to take the baby out of its perambulator. I also had with me a somewhat old but capacious handbag, in which I had intended to place the manuscript of a work of fiction I had written during my few unoccupied hours. In a moment of mental abstraction for which I can never forgive myself, I deposited the manuscript in the bassinet and the baby in the handbag.
And where did you place the handbag?
Do not ask me, Mr. Worthing.
Miss Prism, this matter is of no small importance to me. I insist on knowing where you placed the handbag that contained that infant.
I left it in a cloakroom of one of the larger railway stations in London.
What railway station?
Victoria, the Brighton line.
I must retire to my dressing room for a moment. Gwendolyn, wait here for me.
If you're not too long, I'll wait for you all my life.
What do you think this means, Lady Bracknell?
I dare not even suspect, Dr. Chasuble. I hardly need tell you that in families of high positions, strange coincidences are not supposed to occur. They are hardly this sort of thing.
Objective, strangely agitated.
Your guardian has a very emotional nature.
This noise is extremely unpleasant. It sounds as if he was having an argument. I dislike arguments of any kind. They are always vulgar
Ah, it has stopped now.
Get out of the way!
I wish he would arrive at some conclusion.
The suspense is terrible. I hope it will last.
Miss Prism, is this the handbag? Examine it very carefully before you speak. The happiness of more than one life depends upon it.
Well, it seems to me mine. Yes, here is the injury it received through the upsetting of the Gower Street omnibus in younger and happier days. Here, on the lining, the stain caused by the explosion of a temperance beverage. That incident happened at Leamington. And here on the lock are my initials. I'd forgotten that in an extravagant mood I had had them placed there. Oh, the bag is undoubtedly mine. I'm delighted to have it so unexpectedly restored to me. It's been a great inconvenience being without it all these years.
Miss Prism, more is restored to you than this handbag. I was the baby you placed in it.
You?
Yes, Mother!
Worthing! I am unmarried.
Unmarried? Oh, I do not deny that is a serious blow. But, after all, who has the right to cast a stone against one who has suffered? Cannot an act of repentance wipe out an act of folly? Why must there be one more for men and another for women? Mother, I forgive you.
Worthing, there is some error. There is the lady who can tell you who you really are.
Lady Bracknell, I hate to seem inquisitive. But would you mind telling me who I am?
I'm afraid the news I have to give you will not altogether please you. You are the son of my poor sister, Mrs. Moncrief, and consequently, Algernon's elder brother.
Algy's elder brother? Then I have a brother after all. I knew I had a brother. I always said I had a brother. Cecily, how could you have ever doubted that I had a brother? Dr. Chasuble! Dr. Chasuble! My unfortunate brother! Miss Prism, my unfortunate brother! Gwendolyn, my unfortunate brother! Algy, you young scoundrel, you had better start treating me with a little more respect. You've never behaved like a brother to me in all your life.
I admit that I had in the past, old boy, but I had been rather out of practice.
My own one. But what own one are you? What is your Christian name now that you've become someone else?
Good heavens, I'd quite forgotten about that point. Your decision on the subject of my name is irrevocable, I suppose?
I never change except in my affection.
Oh, what a noble nature you have, Gwendolyn.
Well, then the matter had better be cleared up at once. Aunt Augusta, at the time when Miss Prism placed me in the handbag, had I been christened already?
Every luxury that money could buy, including christening, had been lavished upon you by your fond and doting parents.
Then I was christened, that settles it. Now, what name was I given? Let me know the worst.
Being the eldest son, you were naturally christened after your father.
Yes, but what was my father's Christian name?
I cannot quite recall at this present moment what the General's Christian name was, but I don't doubt for a moment that he had one. He was eccentric, I admit, but only in later years, and that was due to the Indian climate and marriage and indigestion and other such things of that kind.
Algy, can't you remember what our father's Christian name was?
Oh, my dear fellow, we were hardly even on speaking terms. He died before I was a year old.
His name would appear in the army lists of the period, I suppose, Aunt Augusta?
The general was essentially a man of peace, except in his domestic life, but I have no doubt that his name would appear in any military directory.
The army lists for the last 40 years are here. But these delightful records should have been my constant study. M. Generals. 18... Mellon. Max Bond. Nagley. What ghastly names they have. Mark B. Mick B. Moncrief. 1840. Lieutenant, Colonel, General. 1869. Christian names. Earnest, John. I always told you, Gwendolyn, my name was Earnest, didn't I? Well, it is Earnest after all. I mean, it actually is Earnest.
Yes, I do remember now. The general was called Earnest. I knew there was some particular reason I disliked the name.
Ernest, my own Ernest. I knew from the first you could have no other name.
Oh, my dearest Gwendolyn, it's a terrible thing for a man to discover that for all his life he's been speaking nothing but the absolute truth. Can you ever forgive me?
I can, but I feel that you are short, James.
Oh, my own darling.
Letitia!
Frederick, at last.
At last. Gwendolyn, at last.
My nephew, you seem to be displaying signs of triviality.
On the contrary, Aunt Augusta, I have now realized for the first time in my life the vital importance of being earnest.